the birth of the Australian Poker Tour when it came in, and finally running as a full tour and a series and growing from something that was once a 100K guarantee in a small club to millions of dollars. And the same with the APLPT and now the millions. Queensland's now the home of poker. It's certainly the home of poker.
To run an independent poker room, is it actually like profitable per se?
To answer your question, it's a little bit of yes, a little bit of no.
Australia has gone through the booms and then the lows and then the booms. Initially when Joe, won the main,
the first boom.
WSOP, the first boom happened.
It's a 4, and there you have it. Joseph Hashem stands alone. He has $7.5 million.
Aussie, Aussie, Aussie!
What does 7.5 million do for you?
$1 million changes my life, let alone 7.5. Everything's going to change.
It skyrocketed, players into playing, but a lot of people were playing online and live poker sort of went down. People taking poker more, is it on the rise or is it sort of paid?
Just to clarify, do you want to know from a player's circumstance or an industry circumstance?
Let's talk about both.
Okay.
Loyal, players, they keep coming back to you, same faces, a lot of new faces, come in, but a lot of, regular plays.
Yeah.
So what's your secret sauce?
Let me tell you, the secret sauce is not about me. The secret sauce is not about empire. It's honestly community. Take care of your community. I was young, so I was very much into the party life. Was a DJ for 3 years in the club that was next door, and that was my weekend thing. I think it was Monday nights at the Star Hotel or something, and we'd go in there and play that, and then I just become pretty good at it.
So how was that transition from a player to operator? What challenges you faced? What things you had to streamline? How was that experience overall?
The difference between a player and being an operator, totally different sides of the coin.
Hi, welcome to Brisbane Poker Club. I'm your host Aman. Today I'm sitting down with one of the guys from the Trinity of Poker in Brisbane. His name is Aydyn Glen, and along with his partners Taylor and George, he operates Empire Poker in North Brisbane. He has so much information about poker community and the poker scene in Australia, and we covered so many aspects of poker from A to Z today. It was a fantastic conversation, and I'm very sure you're going to enjoy it. But hey, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this channel because your participation is very important to us. It will keep us motivated and will bring more interesting people from the poker industry to you. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this conversation. Thank you.
Think dentist? Think Dentaglow.
Aydyn, welcome to Brisbane Poker Club.
Come on, thank you. Appreciate it for having me, mate. It's been a pleasure. Thank you. Yes, what a lovely intro, mate. We've got a plethora of stories to be able to tell. So, stay tuned. This is going to be something that you guys are not going to miss. So,
No, definitely. I had a quick sit down with you a couple of weeks ago, and I was amazed by how much you know about the poker industry and community in Australia. And I didn't want to pick all your brain at that time because I wanted to save it for the podcast. So Today we're going to sit down and we're going to discuss everything under the sun, and we will go through it. To start with, Aydyn, why don't you tell me, give us and the audience a bit of background, who you are, and give us your backstory, and how did you started playing poker, and then we'll take the conversation from there.
Certainly. So I've probably been in the industry for, it'd be close to nearly 20 years. I started way back in 2014 or 15, roughly. Probably earlier, to be honest with you. It's 2025 if you want to count it all up. I'm from a small country town named Emerald, and that's in the middle of central Queensland. There's actually a few people that has regularly come out of Emerald, and it's got some superstars that still work into the industry to this day. And then obviously moved my way into the Brisbane area, started my first company, which was called Next Level Poker, and it serviced the north side of Brisbane. Sold that, and moved my way into being a part owner of the Australian Poker Tour, doing it on a national circuit, and did 5 years for that. And
Can I actually take a step back? You mentioned you you were raised in Emerald,
Yeah.
and I believe you started your poker journey over there. You started organizing the pub poker nights.
Yeah.
My first question is that what attracted you towards poker? Like, why did you choose poker to play to begin with, and how did the passion ignite it? Like,
Yeah. So, I mean, I was trying to find something away from. I was young, so I was very much into the party life. As soon as I left school, had a job, was a DJ for 3 years in the club that was next door, and that was my weekend thing. And I really just kind of wanted to sort of find a path for me to sort of do something different. And I think it was Monday nights at the Star Hotel or something along those lines. Friday nights at the Star Hotel.
Mm-hmm.
No, it wasn't Friday. I was working Fridays. And would go in there and play that. And then I just become pretty good at it. And then I was playing for a couple of years, and then I met a lot of friends that was a part of the community. And I met a traveling professional who was in the outback doing work, like fruit picking and all that sort of stuff. The guy went broke. And yeah, his name was Jack Ramsden, and an English guy, and he's sort of been back to Australia, and he's still currently playing on the professional circuits and won main events all across Asia, Australia, and all that sort of stuff. So I lived with him for a long time, and literally had the ability to sit down and just play PokerStars at home. Like we would literally just grind, and he would teach me spots, and we'd use tools like Shark Scope and just be able to sort of be able to play the fundamentals of poker in an online circumstances. And this was all before Black Friday, where you couldn't play, where you could play poker. And yeah, it was.
so basically, you found a mentor who was well experienced.
Yeah.
He showed you the ropes, showed the online poker,
Yeah.
start teaching you, and then you were hooked into it.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you mentioned then you moved to Brisbane, and then you started Next Level Poker in the north side.
Yeah, started Next Level Poker on the north side, and ran that operation for roughly 5 years out of multiple venues: Bremble Bay Bowls Club, Redcliffe Golf Club, all that sort of stuff. It was just free roll type of poker. I wanted to build a poker shop to begin with, and I was doing that with one of my ex-partners, and we ordered stuff into the country, and we created our own cards and tables and chips, and really sort of delve into the shop front of poker inside that industry. And in the short term, I found a job with Australian Pro Poker, and they were a pub league as well. And there used to be restrictions in Queensland when it come to being able to play for money on tables. It was illegal. We never were allowed to do anything like that. And the operator that I was working for, Dave, I think, from memory, I can't remember, a very long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
There were some mishaps or some business deals that were pretty. That didn't go quite well. And then the venue ended up approaching me and said, "Look, we want to keep you running our operations, but we're not going to keep this business on. So can you go get a job with another provider?" And I sort of put two and two together. I was like, "I've got all these poker tables, I've got all these chips.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't I just do it?" And then all of a sudden, Next Level Poker was born. And then, yeah.
Okay, so I think you covered so many tangents in like 3 minutes, and my brain is going all over the place.
Yeah.
Because I really want to understand your mindset. I really want to understand your journey.
Yeah.
So let's just take one step back again. So basically, you started a poker shop first, where you were importing or you were designing your own tables and chips.
Yeah.
So that's how you entered the market.
Yeah.
So you're providing service to the local community, to the players.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the same time, you picked a job with Australian Pro?
Australian Pro Poker.
Australian Pro Poker.
Yeah.
So that was like a league, which was a local league, which was running. And then their operation went bust, or they didn't want to carry on.
They didn't go bust.
Okay.
It was just a management decision.
Okay, fair enough. So
Yeah,
the management wanted to change.
They wanted to change providers, but they
and they
wanted
approached
to
you if
keep
you
me. Yeah.
Got it. And then you thought, okay, so I have the experience.
Yeah.
I have the supplies.
Yeah.
I know the supply chain.
Yeah.
So why don't I run it? And that was the birth story of Next Level Poker.
That was, yeah.
Okay. And that was in the north of Brisbane.
North of Brisbane, yeah.
So tell me, so once you started that, before that you were playing poker, and when you play poker, you have a different lens on because you're going there, you're just a player. You don't think about the management, you don't think about the dealers, you don't worry about the day-to-day hassle of running the operation.
Yeah.
So how was that transition from a player to operator? What challenges you faced? What things you had to streamline? How was that experience overall?
The difference between a player and being an operator, totally different sides of the coin. As a player, your only focus is going there, playing the game, winning, depending on how focused you are and intent you want to be into the game. And as an operator, you've got to think about all facets of how we're going to operate this, how we're going to take care of the player, how we're going to provide a service, and what that looks like when it comes to a promotional aspect. And I can get more into that once we sort of get into the next business venture, which was Next Level. But there is something that I'd love to talk about that happened right in between those two particular business ventures, and that is how the Australian market, well, the Queensland market, not the Australian market, is at where it is today. So when I took over and I operated with Next Level, the club that I was working for, Bramble Bay Bowls Club, was going broke. It had a restriction on it where it wasn't allowed to have any noise services. It had a lovely community of bowlers that was generally of the older generation. It had a massive ballroom out the back that didn't have anything, and it was struggling to pay its power bills and its lights and keep its lights on. Then we had obviously a Governor General come in, and her name was Yvette Darth, and there was a lot of discussion at the time in the poker community because there was 2 pages that poker was very different. If I can just rewind the clock a little bit.
Yep.
There used to be companies called Deep Stack Poker. There used to be companies called APP, which is Australian Pro Poker, APL, and even prior to all of that, I think there was Australian Poker. I can't remember. It was a blue brand, but it had a map of Australia on the top of it.
Yeah.
People used to brand themselves with these operations. It used to be, you're part of the green side, which is APL. You're part of, the black side, which was Deep Stack Poker, or there was no connection. It was honestly more like us versus them versus them versus them, and that was how the mindset of the community was back in the day. There was myself and a guy named Brad Sinodi and a guy named Charlie. But Charlie was just part of us because we were doing door-to-door sales trying to sell Foxtel at this particular time. Facebook just come around with the groups. So we were like, we need to find a way to be able to create a marketing place so that we can get all of these companies together, because all of these particular companies, they only stay inside of their groups. So we created something called I Love Poker page, and there's a revamp of it online now. If you want to look it up at home, check it out. I Love Poker, and there's also another one called Queensland Poker Rocks. So when we first started that, where there was myself and we would, because we were door knocking, we were going around from game to game to game to game, all across southeast Brisbane to be able to build this for particular people to come in and see what games were available on the market. And then another bloke called Micah Feder, he wanted to be able to come into it, but he is probably the founder who created the page Queensland Poker Rocks. So once those pages were built, it grew, and there was people who were talking about how do we get the change in the market. We've got petitions signed, thousands of people would sign petitions. Nothing was getting done. People think, we'll just go to liquor and gaming. That's the path. Well, unfortunately, that's not the path. They're just the government body.
So can I just ask a quick question right here? So you're saying at that time, pub poker was allowed to be organized?
Had to be free to play.
Had to be free to play.
Mm-hmm.
Is it the same way you win, you will get some vouchers or dinner or something like that, but you can't actually give cash prizes out?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you couldn't get cash prizes.
And that was the situation specifically in Queensland or all over Australia?
Yeah. So Queenslanders were stuck in this rigmarole. And
Because
you
I'm
really, if you wanted to go play buy-in poker, you had to travel across the border, and that's why places like Tweed was absolutely massive.
Because I'm very sure, like around that time, like in Sydney or New South Wales, you can definitely have games, and
Yeah,
they
New
used to
South
be like
Wales
games.
was completely fine. Yeah.
Okay, so in Queensland it wasn't allowed, and you can't have cash prizes, you can't have like money exchange hands, and
Yeah.
you can do vouchers and whatnot. It has to be free.
Mm.
So you were saying then you guys started organizing petition and whatnot, and then you went to.
I didn't organise the petition. There's what other players. These were some of the feedbacks that we were getting from these particular pages. But what I did is I went and had a chat with some of our local MPs, and because Yvette Darf was helping with the Bramble Bay Bowls Club to be able to help keep the club alive, where I think they donated a car and they were doing raffles and all sorts of stuff like that. And I was the only service as a poker provider in that club that was sort of bringing people in.
Yeah.
Now the issue was when I sat down with and had that discussion with her. Like I certainly don't claim to be able to change the laws, but I certainly went to the offices and I wrote into them to show the light of what poker could do to change the industry. And there was a company back in the day called Southern Cross Poker, which then evolved into WPTL, which was running down at Tweed, and they used to run their quarterly series. I used that company as a reference point. So when I spoke to them, I was like, this was what it could do for the tourism of the industry. Unfortunately, right now, when you're having a free-to-play demographic coming into the industry, these people don't have any money. And they're coming in, they're drinking water, and probably 50% of them are buying beers and drinks and maybe having a flutter because that's what services of the club offers.
Yeah.
Whereas now it's very different. So, and obviously when I said to people travel down, they book hotel rooms, they stay for weeks on end. You could really revitalize this sort of stuff. So I planted those particular seeds into the Governor General when I was speaking to her at the time. They changed. They obviously spoke about it.
Yeah.
And they changed the law. And then.
So what is the law right now? Like technically, what is allowed, what is not allowed, and also if you can talk about the Black Friday, like when the online poker got stopped, if you can talk about that as well after this point.
Sure. So the law at the moment is obviously through Queensland Gaming. They have outlines and guidelines of what it is.
Yeah.
Personally, I think Queensland's pretty blessed from the way that it's written and it's outlined, because obviously it's written in a way that allows the operations of what we have today. And I think all companies, APL, APT, myself, we're very blessed to be able to run the weekly festivals and tournaments and all that. Can't go into detail of it because it's obviously a long document of what the operations is, but you can certainly find it online.
Yeah, but if you talk about the gist of it, as in, like, obviously we can't run cash games because that's only allowed in casinos because of the licensing requirement which they have.
Yeah.
But in pub poker or play in the leagues, basically we can collect the money as long as we don't keep it and we pass it on to the players.
Yeah.
And then we just take not a rake, I would say, but a service charge for facilitating that game.
Well, you were certainly allowed to charge an administration.
Yeah, administration.
But you can't take a rake off the table. And the variations of the way that legislation looks has changed and has been revised over the years, and I think it will be revised again. And I have friends that are part of that community that I talk to all the time. So keeping up to date with that sort of stuff as an operator is pretty crucial. But the way that I see it is that, we are so blessed in Queensland. Just let it be. That's my opinion of where we are. And
no, because see, my issue is that the reason I'm asking is that I understand they have put these requirements, especially for the cash games. It can only be done in casinos, but casino, particularly in Queensland, like they don't focus on poker to actually promote it that much. They have more focus on the other games, which they run
in a casino.
In the casino, yeah.
So they have a different legislation that they run under as well.
No, I understand, but what I'm saying is that, to my limited knowledge or my understanding, is that they actually don't promote or focus on poker that much.
Yeah.
And every time I go there are hardly few tables running. They don't provide proper services. I mean, for them, it's like it's one of the things to have, but they're not actually focusing on it. And compared to them, like all the independent operators or the leagues, they provide great customer service. There's a great vibe to it,
Yeah.
and they actually promote it as a sport or as a community. Like, you want to be a part of that.
Yeah.
So, like, my gut feeling is that if you only let casino run it never be to its maximum potential. Like, you're never gonna reach it.
Yeah.
And especially, like, I was checking this documentary which happened in America. I'm not sure how relevant it is to Australian scene, but in some states like Texas and particularly, I think there were some independent poker operators where they were actually providing cash games, and they were not charging rake, but they were charging hourly service for or a membership
Hour
for the
charge.
club which
Yep.
they were doing. So
Yeah.
it was kind of a gray area, and they operated it for a few years.
Yeah, well, it
but then the business
differentiates
got shut down
in every state legislation.
So, but that was an interesting model. Like, if it can be done. The point I'm trying to make is that I'm not sure what's the viability of that idea of that, or that something like that can be done in Queensland and or in Australia
Yeah.
to actually promote the game, to actually get it going. Because if it's left to the casino, I don't think they're ever going to do anything about it, and Australia will never be reaching its potential in the poker market per se.
Yeah, yeah. So a good reply to that would be is that, yes, some casinos do quite well. For example, like the Gold Coast, they have things like the WPT that comes in. That's a fantastic series. They have the WSOP ring circuit. That's a fantastic series. Brisbane's trying. They're not quite there. I don't think they take. I think I have friends that work there, but that are passionate about the game. But unfortunately, I just don't know if they want to take it as seriously as perhaps like the Gold Coast does when it comes to having series or events there. But as you can see, as recently with the Brisbane Championships, they are trying and they want to be able to grow the product. They probably got quotas that they need to meet as well per square. It's a big take in every casino. Same goes for Sydney. Sydney has those events as well and has a lovely poker room down at Star Sydney. Crown's just come back online. Crown's massive as well. But here's the thing. Like, for a long time in our state, in Brisbane, the Treasury has been below par. Like, it used to have, back when I first come to Brisbane, I think it was like a $90 Monday night with a 10K start stack. Then there was like a $250 monthly, and then they had 1,100 Brisbane Championships. So the thing about these operations, though, is clubs have been born from being limited. Non-for-profit clubs have been born from wanting more, deserving more. The poker player wants to be cared for. Yeah. They want to be able to have good structures and services and not just being put in a corner and say, let it run. These are the basics. We're never going to change. So in my opinion, the independent scene is where it's at. The independent scene has the power to make it grow and be able to turn into what it is today. And when those laws changed, the birth of the Australian Poker Tour, when it came in, and finally running as a full tour and a series and growing from something that was once a 100K guarantee in a small club to millions of dollars, and the same with the APLPT, and now the millions. Queensland's now the home of poker. It's certainly the home of poker.
Okay.
And it's led by the independents. Even though you could probably say that APLPT is owned by Entain now and is a corporate, but it didn't start that way, for sure.
If I'm correct, you had something to do with APT initially in the organization.
Yeah.
Do you want to educate the audience about your role, how you got involved in that, and how would you taking part on?
Yeah, so I met Rob Javosky, who was the founder of the Australian Poker Tour. And I was on a sun run playing poker at the time. I literally won a high roller for the WPT. At Sunnybank, I won a World Series poker ticket to go to Las Vegas. I went into the APT and got second in the main event, got it all in with Kings. And Jax called me off and hit his set. That was the end of the tournament, but that was monumental, part of that.
Yeah.
But on top of that, Rob Javosky owns pokershop.com.au, who's now a big sponsor of us at the Empire.
Okay.
And probably a mentor to me. And I've always, to begin with, he was a competitor, obviously, because I would look at his product and I would see what he's doing online and working with the businesses that he wanted to do. And I was so intrigued by it.
Mm-hmm.
And one day my friend wanted to go buy a table from him and didn't want to buy from me because of it all come down to brand exposure, and I trust this because he's been in the market, whereas you're my mate, I know you can get it for me, but I don't know whether I'm going to get the quality from you that I am going to get from these guys.
Okay.
Whereas inside I kind of knew that I could do that. But at the same time, I was like, there's that something more that I want to be able to meet. So once I got that second, I was like, you know what? I could do what every other poker player does and just go back onto the circuit and play this game, that game, that game, and rebuy in and try to become pro. Everybody dreams about it.
Yeah.
But I was like, you know what? I'm going to shove my stack in and I'm going to try and get a piece of this. And I'm going to see whether they want to be able to come on board. So I told the story about the changes and my passion and everything that I wanted to be able to learn. And not only that, like the things that I've done, like there's a company called Tournament Directors Association. I'm not sure if you heard of it, but it's a pretty common qualification to have as a tournament director these days. And
Okay.
I met a guy online named Robert Huxley who introduced me to the TDA. And I've still got the paperwork from today of what it first was. And so Next Level became the first company to be able to do the TDA. And then it sort of grew into the APT, and now everybody sort of does it.
So it is an Australian company?
Yeah.
Okay.
Another gentleman, Rob Javosky, who's from Emerald, who was running the opposing pub poker at the time, he was already an owner. But he was in my ear and he was talking to me. He's like, Ayden, I know this big thing that's coming up. I can't tell you about it. Confidentiality. But one day you're going to want to be involved in it.
Okay.
And so because he kept planting that carrot and he was like spruiking it, like this is going to be the next greatest thing. When I had the opportunity to move my chips in, and hopefully those boys took me on, and they did. They sold me a piece of their shares, and
Sorry, are we talking about the TDA?
So no, the TDA, that was just me going on about the qualifications.
Okay. So
I was talking about purchasing the share of being a shareholder of the APT. So I bought my shares from Rob Javosky and Rob Donachie.
Okay,
Yeah.
so basically the guy was running Poker Shop, you got to know them, but you wanted to be a part of their operation.
Yeah.
And wanted to learn from them. So you went there, make the connection, have a sit down with them, show them you are, really want to be a part of the team, and then you got a piece of the action. Okay.
Yeah.
So, and APT was running at that time, or was in the early phase, or it was already established?
So it was already established. I think they did their first event out of Acacia Ridge, and then they had another event. Where was it? Might have been the Sharks and the Gold Coast. That might have been their second event that they got. And then they went to Sydney and they did Bankstown. So I played the Sharks. I was working for, because I sold Next Level, I was working for Ladbrokes at the time. I was a VIP liaison officer.
Okay.
I wanted to be able to combine the markets. I seen real potential there. So I got a sponsorship to be able to bring across currently the WSOP champion, Michael Mizrachi. And they did a promotional shoot with Mizrachi and Joe Hasham. When they played. There was no heads up in the first one, but in the second time that Mizrachi came over, they played heads up. So I think the first one was just more of a draw card for the Sydney market to be able to come in and play. And then when I went to the Bankstown Sports Club, yeah, that was fun. Like that's a world of its own if you've ever been to the Campbelltown Sports Club, and played there and had another sun run. Came home with about $15,000, but wasn't on poker. It was playing at the casino and the poker machines. But yeah, got to sit down and play against Michael Mizrachi in the grind because it was named after him, that particular event.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So a lot of moving parts. Your life seems like a roller coaster. You're going from A to B, B to C.
Yeah, but what a journey.
So basically, you had a poker shop. And the shop is was it running that time, or you?
No,
sold that
it folded.
You folded.
We folded it.
So basically, you had a poker shop.
Yeah.
Then you were running next level, tournaments. Then which you wind up. you became a part owner in the APT,
Yeah.
and then you were grinding, hustling, playing games as a player as well, winning some, losing some.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was part in APT. There was 11 owners, I think, from memory.
Oh, that's a huge team. How did you manage to run it? Like, was the roles defined, or was it like a passive investor?
In the beginning, no, but by the end of it, there was structure.
Okay.
It's a family. We all had passion in some point. A little bit dysfunctional, but we kind of brought it together. I won't go too deep into that sort of stuff, but APT is it's a journey I'll never forget. That's for sure. Yeah.
And then tell me, what happened at APT? Like, did you exit it, or you guys sold it to another company?
Yeah.
Walk us through, like, what happened after that.
We can fast forward a little bit. Well, I got to after 5 years of operation, roughly, with APT and traveling around the country nationally. An opportunity came up where the Hashem Management Group wanted to purchase and be able to become the sole owners. And I was working very closely with my mentor, Rob Dravosky.
Yeah.
He told me about the opportunity, and he was ready to perhaps depart as well. And man, it was hard, because that was a pinnacle point in my life professionally where I sort of wanted to be. And I was one of the owners who really worked in every aspect of the business, whereas it was dealing, administration, media, try to really find myself very versatile in every single role that I possibly could. And once I realized that there was probably 5-6 different particular owners who were ready to pass the torch, then and my mentor was one of those people, I decided to join it. But that's not without saying that I didn't have my plans in place, obviously, once I made that decision on to what was next for me.
So what was next for you then?
That's where Empire Poker was born, in North Brisbane. Yeah.
So how long it's been in operation now?
2 years, 4 or 5 months, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so it was around the same time APT was sold to Joe Hashem Group, and then you started a new league.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah. But not only that, I'm a dad too. So
Yeah.
The things that sort of was attractive to me was I get to be in Brisbane. I get to spend more time with my family. I don't have to worry about mum or sister or brother being able to take care of the kids and do their regular routine from day to day. And it's close by. So, but I took everything that I learned, whether those particular business partners we left on good terms or bad terms. The true fact is every single one of them taught me something. And that's kind of what molded me in today. Yeah.
No, definitely. I believe every experience teaches us something.
Yeah.
And then how we incorporate that into our next venture or next idea, that is always helpful, because you can only learn from, your past experience. And definitely, it helps you and guides you, what you're going to do next.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me, how did Empire Poker came about? And tell me about your co-owners, George and Taylor.
Mm-hmm.
How did this team, came together?
Well,
and if you can actually walk me through, do you have specific roles and designation within Empire? Like, how do you guys run it? How do you guys operate it? Let's talk about Empire now.
Let's talk about Empire. So it originally started, we've been in operation 2.5 years, but the business plan has been on paper for probably about 5. The way that it stands now was very different. Myself and Taylor was always a core, and we had a third partner who was interested but never ended up taking up the opportunity. Still works in the industry today. Very, very lovely person. And I was away after I just sold my APT. I decided to go away to New South Wales to go visit my family and spend Christmas. and I got a phone call. I had some prior discussions with George about opportunity, who was in my circle, what it looks like, what we can bring to the table, and we were missing a piece of the puzzle. And I'm not sure what happened, but I was away. I got a phone call from George and said, I have an opportunity. I want to take it. And I was like, okay. I'm like, well, I'm not there and I won't be back for a couple of weeks, but I've pretty much got everything ready. I only need a venue. I need that ready. And look, there was some falling out between George and another operator, and that's their business. But when the opportunity come to me and I knew that I could be able to take that, and I said, to be clear, I said, this needs to finish in an amicable way. Yeah. Because obviously, whether those particular people respect me or I respect them, they've been kind to me, and you finish your business and then we can start ours. So that was my only.
And they were like in the same business. They were in the Empire, but
no, they weren't in the Empire. They were doing something outside of it. Okay. That's how the opportunity comes. So by the time I got back to Brisbane, that opportunity got presented to me. I snapped it up. We got the wheels in motion. We got the tables, the chairs, the systems, live stream tables. We brought it all in, and our core values was, all right, this is the things I want to do. A, we got to look after our staff. B, we got to be professional. We got to look different. We got to be able to have drink service, table service, and we're going to bring the next level of, it's no longer self-delts, it's mid-tier type of stuff, but we can grow, sort of thing. But this is the expectation that I want to be able to have at the poker table, and the experience, because the experience is everything for the poker player. Yeah. Being able to sit inside the room, be able to see the marketing around the room, be able to have the smile, the service behind the counter at the tables, and obviously with our partners as well, with the Wantima Country Club, and being able to have meal and drink services right at the fingertips, because poker players just want to play poker. And
that is true. But I actually want to take a step back. So let's say, so you, Taylor, and George came together. So the idea was to start a poker room where you provide all these services and all this vision which you had, you want to bring it together. But take me like one step at a time. So you set the expectation. This is what we expect in the room, be it service level, be it the experience tables, or how they're going to be treated, what sort of experience, the players, want to expect, and how you can deliver that. Then what's the next step? Then you go and you look for venue. Yeah. Like, tell me about the business plan of running and operating a poker room.
Okay, so basically what we did is I did a timeline. Yeah. So in my timeline, it was like, this is what we're going to do for a launch. This is what we're going to do for our first festival. This is what we're going to do when we're 6 months down the track. And that first festival turned into a second festival, and now we run four festivals a year. Okay. And obviously, we don't go out and like put in type of like things that we can't cover, like guarantees. We didn't start off that way. We started off with estimates. Yeah. And then obviously we built into, once we kind of knew that we had the right poker players, the right regulars coming in on a day, then we sort of expanded on that. We needed to be able to get in. So I had a crew of people already as well. Like I had a fantastic engine in the staff to be able to say, oh, some of these guys who don't work for APT because they can come in and be able to do this. And I had the skills to be able to set up systems and because I learned all that from what I feel was an apprenticeship that I really did with the Australian Poker Tour.
No,
but within the business plan,
so basically what you're saying is that you roughly created, say, a 12 to 18 months of business plan.
Yeah.
Okay, what events or what festivals you guys gonna organize. You had a crew lined up. You have the expertise of what it's gonna take to actually put everything together. But then how did you zero in the location where you're operating? Because right now you guys operate from Wantima Golf Course, right? So how did you zero in the venue, A? B, what was your marketing strategy to reach out to the players? Because as we know, like there's a lot of poker is still going on. Yeah. There are a lot of like, APL and other small leagues, they run their own games in the nearby area. Yeah. So what was your what type of market segment you were approaching, and how did you approach those players, and how did you start the journey that, okay, come to our venue, give it a go? Can you walk us through that?
Well, between myself, George, and Taylor, we know an absolute plethora of poker players. Not only that, the previous page that I spoke about, the I Love Poker page, has over 4,000 members. The Queensland Poker Rocks. So we use community groups like that.
Okay.
And then obviously APT helped us a little bit too with launching, because they advertised for us whilst I was doing I was chief media officer as well, to be able to sort of do that. So we had ways to be able to sort of grow our exposure, our brand exposure. We used graphic designers as well to be able to use particular posters that we can send out to the media world, pay for advertising online, running special promotions, things like that. If that's
So basically, you put a marketing plan together.
Yeah.
You use your personal connections to spread the word of mouth.
yeah.
You reach out to your previous organizations where you worked so that they can help you in getting the word out there. How did you zero in the venue?
So the venue was done by George. So he had that already lined up. That was his negotiation. It's something that I haven't had any dealings with. So, yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Because I can definitely see a method, like, how you guys are operating, because there's a theme to all the marketing materials.
Yeah.
There's a theme to how you're promoting the game.
Yeah.
And the fact which I love about the venue is there's a lot of parking available there.
3 car parks.
And
yeah.
you can come anytime. You never short of the car space.
Yeah.
So that is fantastic. And the way I see it on the north side, like, your venue is one of the venues which attracts more serious poker players. A lot of players, when they go to pub, they're having a beer, they're having a laugh, but for them it's more about fun. But at Empire, I see a lot of serious poker players who want to grind, have fun at the same time, but they're very serious about the game. They want to take their game to the next level. So I'm not sure if it's a deliberate attempt to...
Well, there was a hole in the market too, mate. Like, you got to understand that there is only... You got to understand, where you are and what the market is willing to buy in for. Australian Poker Tour at the time, when I was leaving, they were going into a higher market. They really wanted to cater for bigger buy-ins and sort of move in their way into 2.5 to 10Ks sort of thing. Their main events went up to 600, so the mini mains was around what their main events used to be, I think 450 or something at the time. And then prior to that, when I was a player, like, I think it was 175, and mate, they were filling bottom floor, mezzanines, hotel rooms. They had to buy tents that went out. Like, I've never seen so many poker players in my life. But that market disappeared. And when that market disappeared and it sort of went into a bigger buy-in, there was a need for it. And that's why we jumped in and we were like, okay, this is what we can do here, that's what we can do here. Now, Empire's going to grow too, and we are. We started off our main events at 250. That's going to stay there for a while, but that's not saying we've now introduced a high roller at 800, a 1K one day, but it's going to, those things, when the people come and support, things will grow and things will get better as well. So.
No, we'll talk about that, but before going that, what's your take about the poker community in Australia right now? Because see, Australia has gone through the booms and then the lows and then the booms. Initially, when Joe, won the main,
the first boom,
WSOP, the first boom happened. I think we all got hooked up at that time. There was so much, media attention and whatnot, and then a lot of online poker came in between. So it skyrocketed, players into playing, but a lot of people were playing online, and live poker sort of went down. And then, what's your feeling right now? Do you see, people taking poker more? Is it on the rise, or is it sort of stable, or is it going down? What's your take?
Just to clarify, do you want to know from a player's circumstance or an industry circumstance?
Let's talk about both.
Okay. So for a player circumstance, I think Australia is still in the amongst of the biggest boom that it's ever seen. There is, everywhere you look, Monday night through to Sunday night, there's a game of poker in Brisbane or Southeast Queensland. And then if they're not part of that week, you've got a tour coming every other part of the week. What a fantastic lot of time to be able to find some cards and throw some chips for a player. Industry, it's starting to become saturated. More people want to become operators, and there's no room left in this market.
Yeah.
So then it's really going to come down to who provides what, not for the player.
Yeah.
That's the goal. The community is everything, and that's competition is phenomenal. It creates a better environment that we want to be able to give the player. But unfortunately, you're starting to see some people get hit hard, and that's because, well, I think there was a statistic out there just recently. APL owns 64% of the market in Australia.
Okay.
And then you've got APT, which is doing Melbourne, Sydney. Not too sure what their current calendar of 2026 looks like. WPTL, again, not too really sure what the calendar of 2026 looks like. And APL PT has just released a couple of events to start off the 2026. And Empire, we've released one. We're going to fire 11 days in the start of January. Yeah, 2nd. So there's no way we're putting anything on the 1st because everybody's going to New Year's Eve party, and then perhaps the 2nd is probably not the greatest idea to count for the hangovers either. But look, if you want to come to Brisbane, book a hotel room, 11 days. We're going to have heaps of events. It's going to be lots of fun.
No, definitely, I hear you. And I definitely see there are more like poker rooms coming up, and the market is getting saturated. So as an independent poker room, where do you see what are the biggest challenges for you guys as a business operation, and how you are overcoming that?
Yeah.
And what do you see down the line in 6 months to say 1 year? What opportunities do you see?
No, I have massive opportunities and massive aspirations. It's one of those things that I've probably learned from some of the business partners who I've seen go really big. But in my mind, it's like, holy shit, I don't know if you're going to make that. But mine's a little bit wound back a little bit. I think healthy growths, little bits at a time is going to be able to see us get there. My plan, like I said, on paper for the last 5 years was when Taylor was working for Cyprus. My plan was originally to be able to combine every major player in the game and have a hub for Brisbane, but we still work together. But I don't know if people are ready to go down that path. So I don't want to I can't give out.
No,
I'm not going to show you the contents of my hand, perhaps, you know what I mean? But because obviously there's still competitors in the market, but there's keep an eye on this space. That's all I'm going to say.
No, but talk to me about the challenges of running an independent poker room, and also I want to the APT, APL, they do this big tours and they have this big machinery behind them. They go from city 1 to city 2. How does that business differentiate compared to an independent poker room?
Well, they do it quarterly, depending on where they are in what state of Australia that they're running their operations.
Sorry to cut you, but why don't they create their own operating rooms? Because they already have the branding, they already have that. What's stopping them? And if they do, then what would be the impact on small independent businesses like yours?
Well, I think it was discussed at some point with those guys. I don't know.
Is it because of the fixed cost and ongoing operation costs? Could be.
I don't know. Maybe it's just part of that business model that they've never sort of touched on.
Okay.
And a lot of the business partners have their own operating rooms. So Rob Dravosky has Kings, for example. He owns the Kingdom. It's very similar to Empire.
Okay,
to be honest with you,
okay.
It's like I said, he's a mentor of mine. I've been down there and helped him at the Kingdom in Newcastle. Hi guys, go check them out.
So again, I'm gonna come back to the same question.
Yeah, sorry.
What are the challenges of running a independent poker room?
The challenges?
Yeah.
Well, you got to work with partnerships, obviously, and those partnerships are what we have is the One Team Country Club. They see benefit in us and what we do with the services that they provide and they can bring. We don't have things like bump ins and bump outs. We do pack up our particular tables because we share the environment, whereas a standalone room, would be a better thing to have, but you just need a lot of money to be able to do that. Plus, you have overheads rather being a base service. So there's lots of challenges there as well when it comes to that particular stuff. But obviously, they're probably the main things other than that.
Yeah, can I ask you like a blunt question,
Sure,
because
sure.
it just came to me. To run an independent poker room, is it actually like profitable per se? Because I can think of so many, because I run my own business, right?
Yeah.
So I understand like there's so many fixed costs, there are overheads and there are lease and there's rent and then staff wages and
Yeah.
there's so many things, everything adds up. So I'm just trying to understand, for relatively smaller independent poker rooms,
Yeah.
is it actually, does it run like a business per se, or is it like a job which you have organized for yourself? It's good for as an
Yeah.
individual.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like the
businesses
difference-
generally start up from hobbies, right?
Yeah.
They start from hobbies and then they grow, and then obviously they gain a little bit of traction. And once you start realizing that, hey, we've got something that makes money here, then you've got to start doing the business stuff and turning your company into PTY, LTD, and all that sort of stuff. Obviously, when you know that you've got the growth there and that you're making the income, and that all comes with time and
Yeah.
being able to see your history of what you've done in your services. To answer your question, it's a little bit of yes, a little bit of no.
Let me put this another way.
Yeah.
Say in dental industry, if you look at that, if you in the top 10%, of the industry,
Mm-hmm.
then you're making anywhere like 25 to 28% margin.
Yeah.
If you're in the middle section, you're doing anywhere like 15% to 25%.
Yeah.
And if you're doing 10% to 15%, you're in the bottom end.
Yeah.
And if you're in 10%, then you should sell and wind it up.
Yeah.
So for poker industry, what would be those?
I would love to tell you that, but my CFO, George, is probably the man to be able to sit down and have those conversations with, because the beauty of what Empire is that we're a team of three.
Yeah.
And we have our own market. So if you want to talk to me about the marketing side of it, or you want to talk to me about the live streaming side of it, or you want to talk to me about business operations, setting it up and being able to have what schedules and all that sort of particularly look like, then my skill base, where you've got Taylor, who's floor operations, management, staff, and things like
The
we do
operations side
is
of
like
it.
like sponsorships, and then you've got George. He's a CFO, so he holds the finances, he has the quotas, he
I totally
pushes
understand.
on our
You have a different
targets.
hat on.
Yeah.
No, the reason because you know how you were saying if you have the whole operation to yourself, because right now you are running a joint
Yeah.
facility, and my understanding is a lot of money is to be made in the drinks and other services which you offer on top.
Yeah.
And I guess in some cases if it's shared with the other venue, that platform is gone. And we don't see many independent rooms where you have those services.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to put my head together.
Well, it's very new. It's very new in the market, obviously.
So I think it's a developing market. That's what I'm
Yeah.
trying to understand. What
Well,
is
to be honest, the truth of it
Yeah.
is the first independent operator who operated by themselves was probably the Ferns with the Australian School of Poker, and then they brought in Brisbane Poker United, and then Cyprus once they moved around. That's probably where the original concept come from. Obviously, that was built by Martin Ward, and then obviously he got in those non-for-profit organisations. So we looked at that, and obviously we think that there's probably a better way that we can provide more opportunities, not for as a business, but as a player as well, that non-for-profits can't. So we and plus obviously the skills and all that sort of stuff that I've learned from the Australian Poker Tour that I wanted to put into and mold that kind of looks like what our vision is. And both of those kind of work. And so that's why we sort of built the idea of the aspect, what we call phase one of Empire. Phase 2 and phase 3, they look pretty exciting, but that's the evolution of Empire that we won't talk about. But
That was literally my next question.
Yeah.
What is the vision for Empire?
Yeah.
In the next 24 months?
I mean, I'd love to talk to you about it as well, but the thing is, again, it's like you can't show your hand.
Not fair.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
understand if you that's your business and you got to put
Yeah.
plans in place and
Yeah.
you're going to execute them as the time comes. But I have another question. Like, you guys have a lot of loyal, like, players. They keep coming back to you, same
Yeah.
faces. A lot of new faces, come in, but a lot of regular players.
Yeah.
So what's your secret sauce? Like,
Let me tell you, the secret sauce is not about me. The secret sauce is not about Empire.
Yeah.
You want to build a Big Mac, you got to have the sauce, right? But the core of that, there's only like 3 ingredients to a Big Mac, but the main ingredient is community. It is honestly community. Take care of your community. Look after if they want to look after communities like Ronald McDonald House, which we just recently have, or they want to shave their head for cancer, support them. That's the basis of it. But also provide a good product as well and service base it. That's everything that a player wants to be able to come in and feel comfortable and build trust, because we're not about look, our brand will grow naturally, but the community want to see them. They want to be held on a pedestal. They want to be celebrated. That's what we're about. We want to be able to celebrate those. That's the secret sauce.
Tell me about, like, I've seen some charity events, not exactly charity, or I'm not sure, because I've seen some Deaf Society, they organize some games.
Deaf
tell
Poker
us, like,
Australia,
how's
Queensland Deaf Poker. Well, these are all the poker organisations that didn't have a home, but and Deaf Poker Association, well, we did their first live stream for them as well. And we did their teams event, and they're clever, and they have some fantastic support in that community as well. Like Landon Blackhole, who works for Poker Media News, used to do his own publications and write-ups and presenting, and it's an easy yes for me to have somebody like him on board. It's an easy yes to have Zizimos from the Queensland Poker Deaf Society on board. It's easy yes to have all the guys from Melbourne, Sydney, to be able to start getting interstate people on board. Build it, they will come. Give them a home. Unfortunately, that organisation has folded. I hope for them that they would come back, because they still need a home. And if you guys want a home and you want to play poker, I know you can't hear this. I wish I could sign it to you, but maybe you could put some captions down there. Come back to Empire. We'll do something for you.
No.
They're the creators of the Super Sixes, the teams event. We took that concept and we made our Empire 4s, which we're nearly about sold out on. And we've added our own thing in, but that's, in my opinion, that's where the origination of that come from.
No,
Yeah.
fair enough. Can we talk about, like, the player demographic? Because I see a lot of women, they're entering the industry, a lot of women players.
Yeah.
Some of them are so competitive, like so hard to play against.
Good. Yeah.
But what's your take? Do you think a lot of young players coming in, or it's like, the sort of 35 to 45?
On female poker players?
Like overall, like what's your take on the player demographic? Is it changing in your point of view?
Yeah. We can obviously see what our demographics are through our web pages and our social pages as well. But it's really from, the 18-year-old is not really walking in the door much anymore. It's just basically when they hit their 20s and all the way to 65. But the main chunk is anyone from, 25 to 40. That's the demographic. The beauty about poker is you can come from all walks of life. Like you said, you own a dentistry. I do film and media. The next bloke, he's a car salesman, and that's another thing that we do as well. Like, we've got, you just look at the sleeve that we got here. Traffmore Group, the psychologists, jewelries.
Yep.
Come in, support. We'll show who you are, be a part of it. Maybe come get some sponsorship. We'll brand you up and put you on our live stream. There's a cheap plug.
No, definitely. I'll talk to you about that later. So Ayden, tell me about your partnership. I've seen George and Taylor. By the way, shout out to Taylor and George. I really like you guys. So how have you differentiated the work which you're doing within your business? So who is looking after which part, and tell me about the dynamics you guys work in.
Mate, it's a trio that just clicks.
Trinity of Poker in North Brisbane.
That's it. It's George and Taylor are absolutely fantastic, and we developed our core fundamentals of what we're going to do in this business very, very early. And obviously we go through some changes and all that sort of stuff. I do all the media. I literally run the Facebook page. I work with our graphic designers. I do the trophy designs. I help with structures. Taylor, he will be, all right, now that that fundamental is done, that George and I have sat down and done, he basically gets our plans and it's like, all right, no, you action them. All right? So he's got to go get our staff in order, take care of the staff, look after the staff. He's basically trains the staff as well, which is very, very important because that's something that we do. He has the ability. We work together in multiple assets of things. Like we had a lot of Japanese influx of dealers come into the country, and we help people out as well. So some of our staff had needed help financially. They needed to buy a car or just keep their head above water. Some of the staff need places to live. We help them. We find them accommodation and all that sort of stuff. And that's the kind of loyalty and community and what we do for our particular staff, for all three of us guys. It's a joint effort. And it's one thing that we love in our staff is number one, passion for the game.
Yeah.
Looking after somebody, joining a rail. That's big in Empire. Like if you see success, applaud it. And loyalty. Hang around, look after us, because when we grow, when we get to where we want to be, let me just say, you don't want to be, still working tables and chairs and setting up. You want to be in Vegas with us when we make it to the big time, because that's the dream, right? Just dream big, the big apple. George, he looks after. George he's a good one. He's actually taught me something as well. So not only does he look after financials and all that sort of stuff, and George is a regular player of the game at Empire. Probably played the most games that you've ever seen at Empire. But the thing is, what he does on the table and the connection with the people that he makes, and the groups that he's a part of, or the support that he gives going and playing a local game or an opposing game, or, all that sort of stuff. And he's Greek, so he's got a big connection to the Cyprus guys as well. That PR alone is priceless, and it's
So
good.
he's more of an ambassador for the game and for Empire as well.
Yeah, it's weird. Like you should generally, like in the past, like you normally have ambassadors. Like I remember when I did my first podcast, it was called Pokeballing with Ado, and I brought Mike Maddox on board, and that was introduced me by Graham, who was one of our workers for the Australian Poker Tour. He's like, you got to talk to this guy. So I talked to him, and then Mike turned into our ambassador and I used to do all the video work for him, doing the presenting and all that sort of stuff. But in a certain different way, coming back to George, is he does that in real time. So, he's a real heart to what brings people in the door.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you could
And the same goes with Taylor. Don't get me wrong with Taylor. Like, the biggest thing that you need to have on a poker floor is personality. And when you got Taylor on the floor, he is the biggest personality in the world.
No,
Yeah.
definitely. Like I think operations is the backbone of any business, and if that's missing, then everything is gonna be downhill. So
Yeah.
I definitely understand where you're coming from. Okay, if you could describe Empire in one word or one sentence, what would that be?
Empire. I would describe Empire as the gateway. I would say it would be what links somebody who plays APL in self-dealt or any independent that is self-dealt to a tour, and it's the middleman that combines all types of skills, all types of levels of play, it teaches you to play better poker. And the reason why is that because our structures, and we intentionally make our structures so that you don't get to the final table and have 10 big blinds and play a flip game. That's bingo. Go get a dabber and a card and start listening to numbers. When you play poker, we think about the importance of what that looks like through every structure. And you can, and generally in most of these pub structures, you play a lot of poker up until the final table. Once you get to the final table, that's the most important part of poker because that's where all your winnings, that's where all your prizes come from. And everyone crushes on it. Every structure just crushes on it. So as a beginner, go play your self-delts and learn. It's very important. They're the people that bring the new player in. That's probably why you don't see many 18-year-olds. Maybe they're in that learning phase. But then when people want to start going, you know what? I feel this. Maybe I can do this. Come to Empire. We're your next step. Yeah.
I hear you. Alrighty, so let's talk about Ayden the player.
Yeah.
Are you active in the poker circuit right now? What are your plans? Are you planning to go back in the field?
Yeah. Well, to be honest with you, I love poker. I'm playing not so much Hold'em at the moment. I'm in the streets playing mixed games.
Okay.
I'm loving playing stud. I'm loving playing PLO, PLO-5. I'm loving variations of all types of games that are mixed at the moment.
Yeah.
I find that it's piquing my interest. I love PLO, man. It's what a wonderful game. Like there's anarchy about PLO that you need to be able to learn how to control. And once upon a time, Deuce to 7 triple draw was a very, very popular game. And I think it was in contention with Texas Hold'em to be the choice of game for the World Series of Poker main event. And then they chose the Hold'em, Hold'em, to be that particular one. So just like things go out of fashion, those guys that wears the clogs and what are you wearing them for? And then 10 years later, they come back into fashion.
Yeah.
I think that cycle's about to begin. And that's something that we've always wanted to do at Empire is we've always offered a PLO game in some format. And we've run one mixed games, but have partnerships with the Mixed Games Academy. Hey, Prince, how are you? He's operational across Sydney and Melbourne, based in Melbourne now, but he definitely comes up and jumps in the mix with us as well. So, yeah, not only that, I think that having fundamentals, people around you who are good poker players that can advise you is crucial. If you do want to get back into the 2-card game, 4-card game, or 5-card game, if you're playing draw or stud. And obviously you've got to have some good preparations into treating it like a sport because poker is a sport more, and it just needs to be recognized, and that recently happened in some parts of the world. So
No, definitely.
yeah.
I'll love to see poker in the Olympics.
Well, yeah, that's an interesting one. I think chess was part of the Commonwealth Games.
I think
That's
so.
a mind sport, so why not?
It would be interesting.
Yeah.
All right, my last question to you, Ayden, is what lessons poker has taught you which you have implemented in your life or in your business?
Yeah. You know what's funny? I don't know. Some people, poker's a breath of something that you need to be absolutely passionate about because to me, it brings so many, you can relate to it in so many aspects of your life. Just play the game. Learn from it. There's so much to learn. You can learn how to deal with a bad beat. In personal life, you can how to learn with, an emotional status. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How do you overcome that? That's part of the game. Poker's part of life. It is a game of life, in my opinion. There's so many things that you can relate to inside of the game that you will experience that you can reflect outside. But then there's also the learning path as well. Being able to work with somebody who's a mindset coach, being able to play the game beyond the 2 cards that you see in your hand.
Yeah.
You have to be to be a champion. You got to want it. You got to live it. You got to get to the table. You're going to go out there and people are going to rattle you. People are going to talk about, you do this, and it doesn't matter what aspect of life that is. They're going to needle you to make you feel uncertain of yourself. You got to learn to put that uncertainty in the past. You might see a comment online that's all it is. It's just creating fear and doubt.
Yeah.
And to have a championship mindset is is you got to learn how to be able to overcome that sort of stuff as well. But it also goes into reverse engineering as well. So what I mean by that is, like, if you're a poker player, and the way that I play cards is this is a pretty cool insight. Is the way that I play cards is there's people out there who like to play GTO, which is chart based, what you play in what position in what spot, and that's a very new thing to do. The old school way of playing poker is, let's talk about tells and reads, right? So I'm going to look at you and I'm going to be able to look at what a tell and a read is. But then there's also reverse engineering of what you think of me and what I think of you.
Yeah.
And then, and what that looks like. So, for example, let me use a mentalist, for example, somebody who's part of the magic industry.
Yeah.
A mentalist will pick an outcome, he'll put it in an envelope, and then he'll tell you a story and he'll lead you down a path. And by the time we get to the end of it, he'll tell you to tell me what the answer is. And then you'll open an envelope and the answer's there. So basically what he's done is he's reverse engineered an outcome. And so he's said, all right, we're going to go down a path now where we're going to navigate into, there's a psychological term where you talk about something, I can't think of it, but I'll give you an example. The example is Daniel Negreanu, table talk.
Yeah.
So, like, you know why he talks so much? The reason why he talks so much is because the biggest key in poker when trying to make a read is information.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you a question and I'm going to put you in an uncomfortable spot, and your reaction is going to be able to tell me everything. So most people, even from a small age, they can you will know whether somebody is lying. And if you are lying, then that somebody's got the challenge of being able to uphold that lie and sweat with it.
Yep.
You know, that's why people go in a blender, you know, and they sit at the table and they're like, what's this, what's that? So speech is a very important play at a particular poker table. Observation for me is everything. I need to know whether you're sitting, you're counting in your head, because you might be counting in your head, do I have that straight, 3, 4, 5, etc., or, you know. But the human nature of a poker player is there's a reaction to what you do at the table that you're very unaware of. I'll give you another example. When you sleep, right? Are you aware that you don't just close your eyes and then you're asleep? So in the REM sleep, right, your eyes will be going like this. Bang, 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 bang. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you're asleep. You're not going to know that. So there had to be sleep tests to say, all right, well, the person's eyes are doing like this, and it was observed externally. Yeah. So if you never did that test, or you never looked at yourself, and perhaps that's another reverse engineer method as well, you would never know in REM sleep your eyes go like this. But you would, like, that's just a part of how the human
So basically you're
body
saying
works.
is that you observe the body, the language, the speech,
Yeah.
and then maybe construct a dialogue with the opposite player where you can reverse engineer the outcome which you're looking for.
Yeah.
Or maybe perhaps pick some tell signs which you can use to your advantage.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. I've got out of shape a lot at the poker table. And it's generally because I'm looking at a particular poker player. I'm ready to make the risk in that particular spot. Not always the greatest option, but sometimes, like I've literally had nothing in my hand and felt that particular person has doubt. Talk to that particular person. I'm saying things that's going to pique your interest, because if your interest is piqued, you're going to be able to say that.
Yeah.
Do you ever notice at the poker table, a player, when they make a play, they just lock up? They go still. How do you react to that? Is he strong? Is he weak? What is he displaying to me? That's for you to determine. These are the things you got to ask the questions to. Keep going. What do you do pre-flop? What do you do flop? What do you do turn? Now the body language says he's locked up. Like, you got to run through those particular aspects upon your observations.
Yeah.
That's the way I love playing poker. And to be honest with you, I just think that everybody's got their own way, their own method, That's my method.
No, I totally
Yeah.
hear you. Like, and there's no one thing. It's a combination of all those small observations and experience put together, and then you need to put your faith in your read,
Yeah.
and then to actually go and execute it.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times you know what's happening, but you just don't have the guts to actually call it out or make a move.
Yeah. Well,
Or
3
sometimes
decisions.
you do too much.
So
It
you're
can be
left
either
with
way.
3 sometimes too. It's either raise, fold, or call, and like it's hard to and everything needs to be taken into account as well. So where am I in the structure? What are the blinds? How many big blinds do I have? SPR, stack to pot ratio. What's his stack? What's in the middle? What's my stack?
Yeah.
It all counts. Like it's just a key. Again, the key to poker is information. And when you make those decisions, you're trying to give yourself positives in each column. Each column has the most positive, which doesn't feel right. And you're stacking it up. And finally, you're going to come to the decision, believe in yourself. Like just
No, definitely. And,
Yeah.
and I think it's all about
take an educated guess. Yeah.
education, yes, and like going with your read. Like sometimes you might be right, sometimes might be wrong.
Yeah.
And then you understand your own game,
Yeah.
how you are looking at the game, and what improvements you can make. Like yesterday itself, like I am a player. I was playing a game yesterday, and I am a player who believes in gut feelings, but it's very hard to call upon them because
Yeah, but
mathematics and
qualify
statistics,
them.
you're-
That's
you're
maybe if you're getting
behind.
gut feelings, go
Yeah.
through a qualifying process.
So that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, so I had a situation where I could have gone, and I could have actually gone all in, and
Yeah.
I would have won.
Yeah.
And I just bubbled out last night.
Yeah.
So, but if I would have made that move, I would
Yeah.
have been definitely be in the money. But the point I'm making is that you need to believe in your reads, in your process, how you're going about it, and then put experience behind it and come up with your own methodology.
Do you study or read books much?
I have started.
Yeah.
I'm right now studying David Zelensky book,
Right.
and then I've got a few other books lined up.
Yeah.
So I'm just finishing one book at a time, and actually I'm going to be discussing with the audience, what I've learned from that. Actually changing my game a lot in the
Yeah.
last month or so. I've made a very big changes in the way I'm playing, and I'm actually very excited. I'm changing it to almost 180 degree.
I'm gonna somebody who's wants to, like I said, Empire's that middleman. Go online and look up the Little Green Book of Poker. It's going to be able to give you the fundamentals. It's honestly the ABCs. Because once you try to bring something new into your game and you change it, what I find is it breaks down your game until you actually realize where that weapon fits in your arsenal, right?
Yeah.
So, okay, I can use it here and here and here and all that sort of stuff. But for me, that's always been the go-to back. Look, the fundamentals are everything. And I always go back to Little Green Book of Poker. And
I'll check it out.
I suggest that you read it. Yeah.
Sounds great.
There's a little blue book of poker and a little black book of poker as well. I think it's Phil Galfond. I could be wrong. I'd have to look it up just off the top of my head. But that's like I read lots of books. I think I got 500 in my collection. But to be honest with you, I just got to a point where I love, look, there's theory and then there's practice.
True.
I mean, you can know all the theory in the world, but the practice is probably the most important part. So
No, I definitely hear you because
Yeah.
a lot of people say, "Oh, mathematically or situation-wise, this is the optimum play." But my answer is like, if it doesn't produce the outcome which you're looking for,
yeah,
and if you're not bringing your experience into it, then what's the point?
yeah,
It has to be a combination of both, and then you need to find the sweet spot, and then keep on improving your game, one thing at a time.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Now, like, and as well, like if you're playing in a regular poker tournament that you're thinking, like, okay, I'm competitive here. Well, the first goal of that tournament is, right, what do I look like at the first break? Second goal is second break, obviously, and give yourself a realistic goal of what you want your chip stack to be able to be or look like. And then obviously the two options. If I achieve that goal, what would this next goal be on my journey through the structure?
Yeah.
Or if I don't achieve that goal, what does that look like playing in a short stack? And do I have to be able to change gears? And what I mean by that, am I going to represent myself as a maniac on the poker table. I'm playing a short stack, getting my 10 bigs in crazy. Am I going to am I going to play like a rock and just literally sit there, well, a rock or a nit, like they say, and let's just play premiums until I can get my short back? Do I have enough time in the blinds to be able to do that? Is my structure deep enough to be able to see many more hands? And then, okay, I'm now at phase 2. I'm at the second break. My next goal is to be able to make a final table. Achieve that goal. Thank yourself for that goal. Like, remember how I said you've got to re-engineer? Is that what I said? Re-engineer. Reverse engineer some things. Look, the thing about poker is you can have 100 runners and there's only going to be one winner. So every result is going to feel like a loss.
Yeah.
But you need to train yourself that I'm running at personal best at this point. And I'm not running at consistency at this point. Because if I'm running at PBs and consistencies of FTing all the time, maybe I'm bubbling all the time. Man, that hurts right now. But my consistency is going to pay off. And build your game in that manner. And you should see success.
No, definitely. I think that's a very good advice, and I think it definitely makes sense.
Yeah.
And I will definitely check out that book as well.
Yeah.
Well, Ayden, it was a pleasure to have you.
Thank you.
And wow,
Yeah.
what a roller coaster discussion from A to B to Z. And
I know.
But there's so much to unpack there, and I'm sure we'll be sitting down again later at some stage down the line. But for today, thanks for coming in.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed this conversation.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
So this was the conversation I had with Ayden. What a roller coaster. So many tangents, so many topics to discuss. And I really feel I haven't got all the information out of him. There were so many areas I wanted to dive deep to explore more knowledge, more information out of him. But perhaps we can do it at a later stage. I hope you have enjoyed this conversation because I certainly did. I'll see you next time with another amazing guest. Till then, enjoy this conversation. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel because it's really, really important to us. Thanks a lot. Take care.